All right, I am back in Quartzsite. That was quick, wasn't it? I drove in a strong headwind all the way up here. I mean, the wind was crazy. I hope it's not too bad in the microphone. But I never got over 62 miles per hour. And the gas mileage was bad because I knew once you start towing, you're going to lose some miles per gallon. And plus, with that strong wind that I was driving right into, only got 13 miles per gallon. I usually get 19. So, try to travel when it's not a windy day. But the good news is I had no issues with it swaying. It towed really good. There was a few times on that long stretch of highway between Yuma and Quartzsite, I kind of forgot it was back there. I don't like doing that. So I had to keep checking the mirror to make sure it's still back there. So out on the highway, it does really well. Once you get into town on some bumpy roads, it's actually worse. So yeah, out on the highway is the way to go. And I'm fiddling with the brake controller. I'm trying to get it dialed in. And I've got it pretty close to perfect so far. Maybe the next trip I'll get it all dialed in. So let me get out of the wind. Maybe this is better. So I've got to go over to the big tent section. I got a lot of accessories I need to get. See, these wheel chocks, I'm really not using them the way you're supposed to use them. These are like leveling chocks, and I didn't really need to get level. It's pretty flat out here. So I've got these arranged. This is not how they're supposed to work, okay? What you're supposed to do is put one down, ride your tire up on it, and then put that gray piece right under there. But I didn't need this wheel to be that high off the ground. I just needed it like a half an inch higher. And the Casita has levelers, I mean little levels on it. See, that's perfect. What I do is I get side to side level first, and then I'll worry about front to back. And there we go. That was simple. The stabilizers are the quick self-adjusting type. You just pull them, drop them down, and then release that spring, and it falls down to where it needs to be, and then you just give it a little snug down and it locks in. So you don't have to get a drill out and let them down. And these tuck up in there so they don't hang down like the scissor jacks do. You'll rip those things off. So I love these because once you put them away, they're tucked up in there inside the frame. So it gives you more ground clearance. So when I go into town to the tent section to get accessories, I've got to fix this. This gray water shutoff valve is corroded inside and it's dripping. The black tank, however, is not. Well, I haven't used it and I never will, but I need to, what you do is you take these bolts out, separate it, pull the old one out, stick the new one in, and screw it back together. Thank goodness it's just a gray tank. But when I was testing all the water and the pump and everything, running water and everything, I noticed that it was dripping out of here. I could put a little catch bucket under it, but I don't have a short bucket. So I've got to get something for now to put under it. I don't know, maybe I've got some kind of basin I can put under it. But I think tomorrow is when I'll go into town and look for one of these, because I don't want the gray water dripping out here. Even though it's just out in the desert, I don't see what it would hurt. But I would rather catch it all in a bucket and a few gallons at the time and go dump it over in the wash, because that's perfectly fine to do that. I just don't want it dripping here at my campsite. So for now, I got to find something to catch that, because I'll start using the water and all later today. I mean, right now it's not dripping, it's all run out. I've got to get some little bug covers for these, and maybe a bug cover for this. All sorts of little things you got to get, you know. But maybe I need to find some boards laying somewhere. I could use a couple more boards. That's all I got right now. And sometimes I use these under the wheels to level stuff up, so I don't want to cut those up. I'd rather just go find some that's about 6 inches long and 4 inches wide and put that under the foot of that jack. This is a manual jack, but it's really easy. Really easy to turn it. So I will not be upgrading that unless it breaks. Then I might get an electric jack, but other than that, no need. 2 propane tanks. I just stopped at Patty's Propane in Quartzsite and filled up one of them. The other's okay. One of them's got a gauge on it. I think it's this one. Yeah, see the gauge there? And it's full. So what I do is I start out using the one that doesn't have the gauge, you see. And when it goes empty, I swap over to that. And then I can watch this one because there's really no need for both of them to have the gauge if you just start out with this one every time. So, not going to spend any more money on that. Speaking of spending money, I've spent more money in the last 3 days than I've spent in a year. It's been bad. Oh my gosh. Buying the Casita, buying the tires, and all that. Oh my gosh. I've got to stay put. But after tomorrow, I'll do one more little spending spree, and then I'm going to be miser Matty for a long time. Also got to get a cover for the spare. When I bought tires, I bought all 3. The spare looked great, but it was out of date. So I thought, why chance it? Just go ahead and do it. And these are supposed to be good. And they're taller than the old tires were. Like taller from here out. See how tall that is? Gives me more ground clearance. These are made by National. And they're 8-ply. That's pretty good. And load range D. And they're radials. They're not bias ply. I did not want bias ply. So I think they'll be pretty good. Decent channel here for water to shed out. Nice wide channel. So I will run them until they wear out. And then we might think about getting some bigger rims and all those off-grid, off-road tires and all that. But not for now. Yeah, not for now. I just can't. I can't spend any more on stuff that's not necessary right now. So hitching up was really easy this morning. I'm unhitched because I wanted to get the weight off the springs on the van. Even though it doesn't sag down much. You know, I'm really surprised. I'm not going to need any upgraded springs or any of that stuff. Don't even think I'm going to need the sway bar. Might as well pick one up later. I guess I could get them for 40 or 50 bucks. But yeah, that was the first long tow today. I think it was about 75 miles. Right up to 95. Look at my baby. This Casita is going to have a lot of names. I think its main name is going to be the Matty Casa. But it's also going to be, it kind of looks like a little pod. Maybe it'll be the Matty Pod also. We could come up with so many names for it. The Matty Clam, the Matty Pod, the Matty Casa, the Casita. I haven't done anything to the inside of it. Anna texted me and she says, what are you going to do with the inside? Do you have a theme planned? And then she replied, oh, I forgot. Guys probably don't do themes, do they? Like, no, I never even thought about it. So, oh, look at this. I went ahead and put a new faucet in. This right here had a little trickle in it. So I went up to the RV store and just put it in. It was pretty simple. It was kind of hard to get it off, but the new one going on was very easy. So brand new faucet. And that was it. I mean, everything else is just kind of thrown about in here. I gave that mattress back to Eileen, that big mattress that was in here. I wanted my mattress that I just bought and moved it out of the van and put it in here. This way I can push it back against the wall. It kind of slid forward in transit, but it'll go back further against the wall and give me a little room to put little, some sort of little containers here between the seats and the bed. So it gives me a little more space there. And I'll need to dress it up, you know, and get a real rug instead of just a towel. But see, that's where another table goes in right there. And I have that. It's in the closet right now. But, you know, I really don't really need it up right now. I'd rather have the walking area. But everything works in it. That furnace was so nice. The last few nights it's gotten cold, and just being able to, it just comes on automatically. You just set the temperature before you go to bed. And in the night, you'll hear it come on. I woke up this morning, I wasn't freezing. Jumped right out of the bed, got up, got ready. And yeah, everything works. I just needed to, I could probably have adjusted that and got that to stop dripping. But I thought, let's just go ahead and do this. That's out of the way, and I need to get that gray water shutoff valve fixed. And that's it. That's it, and that's not a big issue. Little furnace, it gets hot. I think it's like 19,000 BTU, but it doesn't have to run much. It can run for like 5 minutes, and then it shuts off, and then it stays warm in here for so long. It is so insulated. It's like being in a capsule. It's so different than being in the van on a cold night. So much different. And once you're in here and the door's shut, you don't even know what's going on in the outside world. So I talked to Yellow Wolf. She's coming by. She's doing laundry right now. She can't wait to see the Casita. Who knows? She might be so impressed by it that she has to get herself one. Oh, I forgot to take the chains off. Let's pop these off and get my little brake thing off. There. There, and then I'll hook these up on the frame to keep them off the ground. But I've got to get a good hitch lock, and I'm also going to get a wheel lock. I think with those two together, that'll be a good theft deterrent. You know, nothing is theft proof, but you gotta at least make them work at it. So I'll get the lock that goes over this whole thing, and it goes up in the hole here, and maybe even the one that'll, you can tuck the chains up in there too. And then there's these things, let me step over here. There's these things that you hook on the tire. It'll go on this side of the rim, and then it comes around like a big fork and goes on the inside of the rim, and then it's got this handle that sticks off here. You know, like a wheel chock lock or whatever they call them. So yeah, I got to do it, even though I hate to spend the money, but I've got to do it. And there's my little backup camera. You know what? I told you I was going to put a link for this. Let me go and find out what the name of this is real quick. All right, it's called 7 Tour. Spell out 7 and then Tour, T-O-U-R. And there you go. You just plug it in into your cigarette lighter. I didn't have to do any setup. It just come on, and I've just left it alone. just run it, and then this other end, it's got an on button and an off button, and you can charge it with a USB, but I haven't done that. I just stick it out in the sun, and then you just stick it wherever there's metal. So, you know, when I hitch it up, I stick it on that back door so it aims down at the hitch. So easy to do this morning. Just drove right under it. And then before I get on the road, I stick it on the bumper, like right in here somewhere. All right, so everything's in transition right now. I'm in the process of getting things moved from the van into the Casita. Right now, all I've got over there is pretty much my clothes and stuff. And I've got just to figure it all out. It's a transition period, but I want to show you something that I came up with that is genius to keep all the power I need in the Casita while I'm boondocking. Check this out. All you have to do is pull out the 30 amp cable that's wired into the Casita and plug it in to a power station, which I have a really big power station with a 30 amp plug on it. And it sits between the seats in the van, and since it's not quite long enough, I had to buy an extension. But that's it. You just plug it into that power station, and then that power station that's in the van is getting all its power from those 400 watts on the van. So all I have to do is park within 42 feet, I think, of the Casita, because I've got enough cable now in case I can't park up this close, that this cable will reach all the way in, and I just crack the driver's window and run it in through there. And last night was just beautiful. I mean, just being in the Casita, having all the electricity I need. And what it does is you know, RV electronics are complicated. It's got alternating current and direct current, 12 volt. So what it does is it's charging the battery that's in here. There's a 100 amp hour marine battery in here. So it's charging that, and it's also giving power to all the outlets that are in the van that you might need for alternating current, you know, 110 volt. So it's so simple. I won't have to worry about putting solar panels on the top of this Casita. I've also got some portable panels. I got 400 watts worth of those that I could just lay out here on the ground and plug in right here. It's already there. And I just made one of those connectors. I spliced one in. It's a SAE connector. But the only thing about this, it has a Renogy charge controller in it, but it'll only take up to 25 volts. So I'm only going to be able to use one of my 200 watt panels, because if I plugged them both in, it would be about 37 or 38 volts. So I can only use one, but still it'll give me something if I'm not connected up to the van. So it's all settled. I'm just leaving it the way it is and powering everything that way. All right, my friends, let's wrap this up. I will check in later. Thanks for watching. Take care, be well, and smash the bell.